our first speaker, I think it's very fitting that she's following the video of younglings because she has sort of a childlike energy about her in that belief that anything is possible. And going back to the idea of each speaker being their own song in their own way, there are different songs that each speaker sort of reminded me of when I heard them speak. And for this speaker, it was absolutely, raindrops keep falling on my head. That doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. Crying's not for me. Those raindrops keep falling on my head. They keep falling. Now, if you've seen Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, you know that that scene involves riding a bicycle. And this woman has done some really incredible things on her bicycle. And her name also reminded me of the raindrops. So please welcome to the stage, Machai St. Rain.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I love this topic, and what a joy to get to speak on a topic that happens to be my personal passion, which is anything is possible. So, first of all, I would just like to know how many people in the audience have a clear dream or goal in their mind right now in their lives that excites them. Yes, a few out there, but we need more. It is my, it is my intention in the next 10 minutes to bring you all into connection with that dream that you were born to live in this lifetime. I truly believe that when we feel or hear something that really excites us, we are meant to bring that into fruition. And so, if you will, right now, bring that dream into your mind. And if you don't have one, think of something that really excites you, something that you're passionate about. And allow any kind of negative thought, well, I couldn't ever do blah, blah, I can't, or I don't have the time, I don't have, whatever. Just drop all of that, go straight to what excites you and what dream are you living in your life right now. So, where would you be in this dream? Where would you be in your dream life? Where is it located? What does it smell like? What people would be around you? How would you be interacting with them? Are you a boss telling them what to do, or is it a team working with you? Or is it other people that you're trying to understand? What is it? Even what you would be wearing. Bring it into your mind as clearly as you can, in as much detail as you can. And hold that in your mind for the rest of the night and the rest of your life. But especially for the next 10 minutes while I'm talking, please. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my dream. So from the time I was a small child, about 8 or 10 years old, I clearly had a dream of putting a backpack on my back and just taking off and traveling the world. I didn't want to be a 2-week tourist, showing up with my suitcase, hanging out on the beach, and then flying back home. I don't know why, just intrinsically, it was my dream to just put a backpack on my back and just go out into the world. And as some of you can imagine, that's not exactly a typical dream that is available, or that people think of as being available to a woman in this day and age. So by the time I was 46, life had been quite a bit different than I thought it was going to be. I got married, had wonderful children, went to college, did all of those things. I had a business. I had a housekeeping and home repair business for about 20 years. And at 46 years old, I had the proverbial midlife crisis. What am I doing? I'm remodeling another kitchen. Oh my God. And all I want to do is put a backpack on my back and take off. And I really felt a part of me start to shrivel up inside. I really started to become depressed. I noticed that the thoughts in my head, the story I needed to tell myself in my head about why I didn't get to live my dream, because life just took me over here and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And I could have taken that story in my head and just said, oh, well, and just be happy with what you've got, blah, 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 right? But I knew that I was just going to, begin a long, slow dying process if I did that. And I really rebelled. The inner rebel came out, and I said, I've got to take off. I've been saying it for 20 years, I'm going to take off. I've got to do it. And the universe always answers every single time. That's what I've learned especially over the last 7 years since 2 weeks after that, after I made the commitment that I'm going to do this, I met a guy at a music festival. And he travels the world by bicycle. And I said, oh, how do you do this? I don't have enough money to travel the world. He says, I travel the world on $4,000 a year. Been to 126 countries in the last 20 years. He said, if you want to travel the world, it's not money that's stopping you. I said, oh my goodness, okay. So, spent a couple of days with him at the festival, and called him up about 2 months later, and I said, would you consider allowing me to come along on one of your bicycle trips and teach me? And he said, you have to be able to ride 40 miles a day, 6 days a week, with 75 pounds of gear on your bike. When you can do that, call me. So, I pulled my bicycle out from under the front porch, sprayed off the cobwebs, pumped up the tires. I hadn't been on a bike in at least 10 years or more. And the very first day, those squeaky pedals, rusted pedals, I could not even get up the hill out of my subdivision. Yeah. That was in July 2011. In October 2011, I met him in Johannesburg, South Africa. First time I had seen him since the music festival. And we took off from Johannesburg, South Africa, and that first day that I rode my bike was the very first time I had ever actually ridden with the bags on the bike and all the weight. And he was not exactly a patient kind of person. And I asked him, so how many people have traveled around the world with you over the last 20 years? And he said, you're the first. And I'm like, oh. So, yeah, so he was not used to having another person. And so I tried to ride in the garden with all these bags on the bike for the first time, and I dumped it the first time. And 2 hours later, we were on a 4-lane highway riding through Johannesburg at 4 o'clock in the afternoon in the traffic. So, I ended up riding with him for 10 months. Across the Kalahari, through to Zimbabwe, the Lake Victoria, up to the equator. Then we flew to Turkey. We rode across Turkey, and that's where we parted ways. I came home and got a round-trip ticket back to Turkey on the off chance that I would get to go back And since then, I went back to Turkey. I've lived in Greece for 3 months, traded in my bicycle for a sailboat, sailed to Portugal, the Canary Islands, went to South America, and basically have been traveling the most of the time up until 2017, when I finally came home for a little while to visit my 7 grandchildren. But if I could tell you what it took to actually get there. Number one, attention. Attention is like your steering wheel. It's going to show you exactly whatever you're putting your attention on, if you're putting your attention on, I can't do it because I don't have enough money, and all of those things that I had told myself for 20 years or more, that's what I got. But when I told myself, I am doing this, and I put my attention on that, that's what I got. So attention is your steering wheel. Focus is your rocket fuel. The more that you can focus, which is a learnable trait, you can learn that through meditation. The more you can focus, the faster it will come to you. And we live in these incredible bodies with top-down brains and bottom-up brains, and that interact with one another in the most magical way. That as you start stepping out, first in little ways, in mine it was, to me it was a small step to step out with him, and he showed me the ropes, and he showed me everything, and 10 months later I was brave enough to step out on my own. And it just kept, I kept, gaining the experience and gaining the faith, taking a little bit bigger steps and bigger steps. But this was on a bicycle. It still wasn't the backpack on my back or going over. I finally did that in October 2016 in Patagonia. The circumstances were right for me to strap a backpack on my back, and I hitchhiked across the Atacama Desert and all the way to Bogota, Colombia, about 6,000 miles altogether. And that was when I really felt satisfied. That's when I came home. Now I have different dreams, new ones, which fill the space and bring me much, much joy. So if I can leave you with one idea here tonight, you were born to live your dreams. This amazing universe only has one of you. Your mother, your father, even all your brothers and sisters are not exactly like you. 10 million people made love for 10 million years for you to be born right here. And somebody can hear a different dream, but only the one that touches your heart and lights you up is the one that is meant for you. And this universe is just waiting for you to live the dream that you were born to live. So thank you for being here tonight. The other speakers and the rest of this show is going to be fantabulous, I tell you. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Machai, Saint Rain. Let's step up
Thank you,
into
dear.
the light.
Yes.
I love how you are like, well, I just started with that small step of going with him, and we're all like, that was a leap across a chasm that I never even would have walked up to and looked down. Like, what?
Yes.
That's incredible. Right. So I understand, continuing with the theme of music, that because of and throughout your travels, you ended up writing a song.
Yes.
Yes. Now, was this because of one particular incident, or was this a culmination of lots of little things that happened along the way?
It was one main incident that was right at the beginning of the trip, when I was still kind of getting used to riding on the left-hand side of the road, which was something that didn't occur to me until I actually was there, going, oh my God, I'm riding on the left. And in Africa, they don't have 18-wheelers. They have 26-wheelers. Wow. They call them road trains because Africa is so immense. They have, and so this huge truck was passing me, And I basically lost control of my bike. And I toppled, and I went rolling down the road.
Wow.
And I could see the car tires passing my face as I was rolling. And then I stood up. And I was okay. I was barely even bleeding, really. And this other woman that was right behind, she stopped. The truck didn't even stop.
Wow.
The woman stopped, and she said, "Oh my God, I almost ran over you." And I said, "Yeah, I think those were your tires I saw as I was rolling down the road." And I got back on my bike, and I finished riding for that day. And the next morning, I got up and said, I can't ride today. And luckily my riding partner understood. And that's all I'm going to say, except for that the first line of the song is riding in the back of a pickup truck. So
you would be willing to share this song with us this evening?
Yes,
Awesome.
I am going to share this song after the balloon drop at the end. I'm going to run over and hop in with the band.
Wonderful. Cool. Well, if any of you would like to have the privilege of sticking around to hear what that inspired in song form, please stay to hear that. That's awesome.
Yes, I hope you will.
Thank you, Machai.
Thank you.
Thank you
Have
so
a wonderful
much.
night.
Machai St. Rain, everyone. Incredible, right? I mean, she just got up and did it. She just went and did it. That's amazing. So this next speaker, this girl is on fire. The first time, last week when I heard her speak, I was like, she's just radiating the epitome of what that third creative chakra center is, that fire, that light, that passion that burns away everything else and blazes the trail for you to go on and do you. She's incredible. That's all I have to say. Please welcome Lisa Devon.
What's up, you guys? I'm Lisa Devon. I am a motivational speaker, a poet, a wife, and a mother, and I am honored to share a little bit of my manifestation journey with you tonight. So when I was 13 years old, I told the universe that I would never marry a man with crooked teeth. I'm not sure why that was so important to me, but it was. And I wasn't really sure about getting married, but I thought, if I am going to get married, I'm not changing my name. And this man, he would have to be tall and handsome, with hair on the top of his head, but not on his back. I was very specific about that. And he would have to be kind and loving and gentle to me and never yell at me or hit me or crush my dreams. And he would agree to stay at home and raise our children and take care of our home and cook. And I would go out and earn the money and take care of our family. And when I met a man who wanted to have this life with me and he had crooked teeth, I knew that he was my man. This must be the man for me. And so it's very important that you recognize your blessing when it comes. And not to, look a gift horse in the mouth, as it were, but even if it isn't dressed the way you thought or doesn't look the way that you thought it should look, you need to recognize it. But another thing, and I didn't know this at first, but I do now, is that the universe doesn't really do not. So if you don't want crooked teeth, then you need to focus on straight teeth. Right? Just saying. All right, that's going to be important later. So I want you to know it doesn't always take that long for a blessing to manifest, right? I was working at this TV station, and we had outside producers coming into our studio and making shows about all kinds of different things, right? And so they wanted people to go out into the field with a camera and videotape some stuff, commercials for their sponsors or B-roll segments, whatever, zip up their little studio show, right? So the TV station wasn't interested in doing this work at all. And I saw all this work just going out the door. I was like, man, I'm going to start my own video business. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start my own video business. And I told anyone who would listen to me, I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to start my own video business. And they said, you know what? That's a great idea. You should do that. And so I kept telling people. And one day I told my mother for like the umpteenth time, I'm going to start my own business. And she said, well, how much money you need to start this business? And I said, It's not like I did any research or anything. So I say $5,000 or $6,000. And she says, well, great, because your grandmother wants to make you a loan of this money so you can start your business. I said, she does? That's amazing. You know, I got lots of entrepreneurs in my family, so it's not too weird. But at the time, these are period photos, by the way. Just saying. At the time, my grandmother has Alzheimer's, and I'm like, are you sure that this is what grandma wants? And my mother assured me that my aunt and my uncles, we all agreed this is what my grandma wants. They send me a check, I buy some gear, I buy a computer. The next thing you know, I'm on the street making videos. From the time I said, I'm going to start my own business, until the time I have my business is 12 to 18 months. And to be fair, I wasn't really prepared for said, there we go, hope we don't go too far. I wasn't really prepared for this business. I have my business in the living room of my tiny apartment, and in the dining room I have a small child and another child on the way, and at this point we really need a house. Now when I was younger, all the houses, they had brick siding or clapboard siding, except for this one we used to go by. It was a stone house, and I was like, man, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. I'm going to have a stone house when I get grown. And I'm going to have every cool thing I'd ever seen in anybody else's house, right? Crystal doorknobs, hardwood floors, paved driveway, mailbox on the side of the house, all that good stuff. Cut glass window in the bathroom right so the light comes in, but nobody can see you naked. And the coolest invention I had ever seen at age 13, a laundry chute. Are you serious right now? I'm absolutely having one of those in my house. So when you get older, things you need in the house change just a little bit. And you need a good school district and the right price range and all that sort of thing. So we live in this apartment, and we walk through the neighborhood we really want to live in on the way to the park. And I see this tiny stone house with a paved driveway. I said, Daddy, I want that house. Daddy, I want that house. And he says, honey, we can't afford a house right now. I said, I don't care. I want that house. So this happened 40 or 50 more times as it was for sale. And he stopped saying that we can't afford it, and he finally started saying, okay, baby, okay. And so we finally get approved for a loan. I get to take a look inside of this house, and what do you think it has? It has crystal doorknobs and hardwood floors. It has a mailbox right on the side of the house. It has a cut glass window in the bathroom and a laundry chute, and I know that I am home. This is my house. Now, to be fair, this house is a little bit shabby and still out of my price range. But it had been on the market for 250 days. And these people were ready to make a deal, and in that way, this house manifested for my family. And we lived there, and we still live there today, even though we have hung on to it tooth and nail some years. So why am I telling you all this? I am telling you all of this to inspire you to manifest what you want in your life. Because you can do it. Because I'm not special, as this one would be quick to remind you. Now, I would insist that I am special and that each and every one of you is special. And she would say that if everyone is special, then no one is special. Well, my mind understands it. My heart refuses to believe it. But it doesn't matter if you believe it or not, because you have the power to manifest whatever you want in your life. Now, I bet you're thinking to yourself, how in the world am I going to access this power? I'm so glad you asked. It just so happens I have a little book for sale outside. Kidding. I do have a book, but that's not what it's about. So maybe you can access your power like me through speech. And maybe you call those things that be not as though they were. Maybe you can manifest your power through the written word. Maybe you write poems. Maybe you have a manifestation journal. I tried the journal one time. There was a new moon manifestation ritual on the Facebook authority on all the things. And so I got my sage, I got my candles, got my little journal, right? And I'm writing out my manifestations. When who should show up? What are you doing? So I sheepishly explained what I'm doing. And this kid right here, after a lifetime of hearing my stories, says to me, well, if you have the power to call things into being, what do you need the journal for? And I said, wow. Okay, thank you. I said, thank you for helping me to remember my own power. I've spent this whole speech trying to convince you that I have the power to manifest things in my life, and therefore you have the power to manifest things in your life, and this quick, I forgot. So remember your power. Maybe you manifest your power through visualization. Now, I don't know about you, but every motivational speaker I have ever heard has used the word the visualization, right? I saw the ball going into the hoop. I saw it going in every time. If you're a race car driver, maybe you saw yourself finishing first in the race. I don't know. But it's important whether you use speech, written word, visualization, some other magic technique I know nothing about, that you focus on what you do want. Straight teeth, right? And also, like any good Disney movie, you must believe. You must believe you are worthy. You must believe you can have it. Very, very important. This is the part of the speech where I remind you what you already know. With great power comes what? God, you guys are smart. Anyway, that is true. You can manifest things in your life that you don't want. So you have to be careful. Have you ever heard anybody say, this or that thing is going to give them a heart attack, this or that thing is going to give them a stroke? You can manifest that in your life. Never do that. Never say that. Instead, you want to guard your thoughts and your words all the time. And then what you want to do is to speak positivity to yourself above all. This is where your affirmations come in. If you don't have affirmations, maybe you're one of those poor folks, and I used to be one, that has that terrible, mean hater in your head all the time. You can stop them and you say, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. But you need to speak positivity to yourself all the time, every day. To your loved ones, pour into them. Don't tear them down. Build them up. And to others, as much as you can. You know, the more positivity you put in the world, the more that comes back to you. So, excuse me, if I were going to wrap up this little talk today, I would say you can manifest what you want in your life if you remember your power. If you focus and believe in what you do want, and believe you are worthy, believe you can have it. Recognize your manifestation when it comes, even if it doesn't look the way that you thought it should look, and guard your power against negativity at all times. At all times. I am Lisa Devon. I'm an in-demand, highly paid conference speaker, a best-selling poet, a wife, and a mother. And it's been my honor to share some of my manifestation journey with you today. But I also feel the need to prove myself as a poet. My countenance is due to my competence. Coupled with my confidence, you can count on this. Watch me manifest, because I can manifest my destiny on stages from LA to Schenectady and even in Texas. I'm gonna be bigger than Texas. Watch me flex this, because I'm the nexus. And I know what's next is meant only for me. And what is meant for you is meant only for you. And no one could take that away from you. So if you can dream it, and you can see it, and you can believe it, you can write it, and you can speak it, you can be it. You can make it happen. And with that, make you happy. Thank you.
Yes. Lisa Devon. Yes. Come to the light. Come to the light. So, I don't think you mentioned it tonight, but I would like you to tell us why the mailbox on the side of the house was so important to you.
I did. I thought I was running out of time, so I
I want to ask about it now.
Well, that sweet little lady that I showed you a picture of, my mother, she would make me walk 40 or 50 feet every day to the mailbox and back. She also made me pull weeds in her gravel driveway, and that's why I said I'm having those things when I'm grown, because we're not doing this. When I am grown, I am not doing this, so I don't.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that and your fire with us.
Thanks, I enjoyed it.
Lisa, everyone. Our next speaker is a wonderful storyteller, and amidst these powerful truths that she gives us, she also drops in little pieces of humor with that wisdom. And the song that I thought of immediately when seeing her was, "This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine." That's how I feel watching her. I hope you feel that too. Please welcome Susan Hill.
Nice. I manifested some applause. So we're talking tonight about manifesting through the law of attraction, and you've already heard a couple of wonderful speakers with some wonderful thoughts and some wonderful stories. So we use the law of attraction most of the time to attract things from without, to bring things to us. But I want to talk to you about manifesting what's inside of you. Now, before I get started, I want you to engage the critical thinking part of your brain. Do you remember that part? Don't believe what I am saying because I am standing here on this stage in a position of authority. Listen to me now and believe me later. I want you to think about what I'm saying. I want you to think if it makes sense to you, and if it does, then you can use it. If it doesn't, just tuck it away. It may become useful to you someday. Listen to me now and believe me later, okay? Audience participation, okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Now, this is a little baby lesson in metaphysics. There are physical laws and there are spiritual laws, right? Physical laws are pretty easy to understand. How many of you, when you were a kid, thought if you just flapped your arms hard enough, you could fly? And how many of you jumped off of something to try and prove that theory? Several of you, I would imagine. And what did you learn? You learned about the law of gravity. Spiritual laws are slipperier. Do you know the poem by Ralph Waldo Emerson about the queen mother of all spiritual laws, the law of karma? It's called Brahma, and the first stanza goes like this. If the red slayer thinks he slays, or if the slain think he is slain, they know not well the subtle ways I keep and pass and turn again. Spiritual laws are subtle. They keep and pass and turn again. Now, we use physical and spiritual laws unconsciously all the time, right? Frankly, once you have learned about the law of gravity, you're like good with it, right? You know how it works. No further explanation needed. But like I said, spiritual laws are more subtle. You have to use them consciously. That's the trick that brings the rabbit out of the hat, is to use them consciously. Metaphysicians think all the time. And I hope all of you consider yourself metaphysicians because you wouldn't be here if you weren't. The law of attraction, right? Metaphysicians think all the time about what they say and think and do and how it affects those around them. Metaphysicians are exhausted. I'm 25 years old. So, as we start to use the law of attraction consciously, we begin to bring into our lives those things we want, right? A new car, a new house, a new relationship, whatever. But the first rule is that you have to be very clear about what you want. The universe can only bring you what you want once you have decided what you want. And the universe can't recognize a negative. If you say, I don't want, all the universe hears is I want. That energy comes for good or for harmful. The universe doesn't discriminate. Roses and poison ivy get the same energy to grow, right? So you have to be very clear on your intent. And with that intent, you attract those things to you. That new car, that new relationship, a new job, all of those things are valid and very important. And you can use the law of attraction to attract what's inside you, to become the person that you want to be, peaceful, happy, self-confident, and being able to live your life from a place of truth and authenticness. Sounds good, doesn't it? That sounds really good. Inside everyone is that spark of the divine, right? The ancient Egyptians called it Ka. James Hillman calls it the acorn that holds the imprint of a mighty oak. Joseph Campbell called it the jewel point. You can call it Phyllis. It doesn't matter. Semantics, right? The important thing is to recognize that it's there and to acknowledge it. So we all have this little spark, but what happens is that our little spark gets covered over with schmutz. Now, in case you don't know what schmutz is, oh, this happened the last time. There we go. There it is. Let's read this definition together. An unpleasant, unidentified substance, something that soils an otherwise clean object. Those were some good ribs. Hey, Tony, you've got some schmutz on your face. Okay, so you understand what schmutz is, right? So our little light gets covered with schmutz. And that schmutz is shame and pain and fear, and sometimes it's your own stupid thinking, right? Now, there are some issues that dim our light that are serious. Issues of abuse and of trauma, and those need to be dealt with respectfully and gently and compassionately. But a lot of times, our schmutz is self-imposed, right? Our sense of self-worth gets covered up by opinions of other people, of society, of family, of friends, of ex-friends, ex-boyfriends, our own stupid thinking. Those are the things that are self-imposed that dim our light. So now we come to the second step. We have to dig out of the schmutz. We have to stop covering ourselves in schmutz, and we have to stop making other people walk through our schmutz to find us. So how do we do that? We have to take the hardest journey ever, the journey within. You have to be brave enough to be fierce with yourself, to go within and look what's there. You have to examine why you do what you do, why you think what you think, all of those kinds of things. You will find some wonderful things in there, and you need to own them. And you will find your schmutz, and you have to own that too. Once upon a time, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Anybody been there? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't know who I was. I felt like I had to be this for these people and this for those people and this, blah, 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 blah. I didn't know where my little light was because I couldn't find it. So I started that difficult inner journey, that difficult, hard, brave journey. I went on that journey bawling and squalling and kicking and screaming and wee all the way home. But as I did it, I attracted the people and the situations to me that helped me find my light, that helped me raise my consciousness. And I came to a point in my life where I was pretty sure I was only one step away from Buddhahood. That's how enlightened I was. And then you know what the universe does? The universe always goes, oh, darling. How charming of you. Let's just see. So, my ex-husband and I had been divorced for many years when our daughter got married. And we went to the wedding rehearsal, and he said something to me. Now remember, I think I'm the next Dalai Lama. He said something to me that sent me through the roof, off the cliff, every which way but loose. I was so incensed and appalled and angry at what he had said to me. I just couldn't stand it. I scared my good husband, you know? And so I fumed through the wedding rehearsal, and I fumed through the rehearsal dinner, and I got on the phone to my sister, and I said, you will not believe what he said to me. And she's like, what? He said, hi, how are you? So there was this silence on the other end of the phone. And my good Capricorn practical sister said, unresolved issues there? Schmutz. There's always schmutz. But as you dig through it and you pull weeds and you dig things up and you haul out tons of manure, your little light starts to shine. And it starts to attract to you those people and situations that you need to raise your awareness and to raise your consciousness. Joseph Campbell said, once a soul insists on its calling, doors will open. And when those doors open and those boundaries are removed, you remember who you are. You remember that you're valuable. And then you start to believe it. Not just play lip service to it. You believe that you are worthy and you deserve good things. You're able to draw boundaries. You're able to say no without beating yourself up. You stop being your own worst enemy. Remember all those years ago when Marianne Williamson told us that it's not our darkness we fear, but our light? She told us we are powerful beyond measure. And it's so true. As you attract your little light up through the schmutz and to the surface, you begin to manifest your real self, who can speak the truth and live authentically. The law of attraction is like an iceberg. There's some of it on the top and a whole bunch on the bottom. And you can use it to attract stuff into your life. I love my stuff. I have lots of stuff. And you can use it to grow your acorn into a mighty oak. You can shine your jewel point, and you can introduce the world to Phyllis. What will you do with your wild, precious life? You can use it to live authentically and deeply and bravely. It's your chance to believe in you. It's your chance to attract and manifest whatever it is that you think is important in your life. It's your chance, as Rumi told us, to set your life on fire. Thank you.
Susan, thank you.
You're welcome.
Step up into the lights. So,
And now for the interview portion of the program.
now for the Q&A
I believe in
section.
world peace.
Oh, I am curious if you have a suggestion or personally, what tool in your toolbox do you use to clean the schmutz? Because I know that that's something that appeals to us, right? To clean off the grime and the dirt and see our light, but what tools do we use?
Get over yourself. Find your sense of humor. Don't take everything so seriously. You know, Auntie Mame said life is a banquet, and most suckers are starving to death. And that's what we need to do. We need to not take ourselves so seriously. We need to get out of our drama. We need to find the lightness and the humor in life. We need to not be afraid of making fools of ourselves.
Wonderful.
I've done it plenty of times, and I'm still alive.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you for
Thank
sharing
you.
that. Susan Hill, everyone. So this next speaker struck me quiet, which is a very hard thing to do, as you might imagine, having spent the evening with me talking so much. I don't have a song for her. I truly don't. When I saw her speak last week, I almost didn't realize when she was done speaking, I have to go practice asking her a question. Oh my God, wow. I mean, I was just stunned by the depth of her vulnerability, her raw openness, and her power to change such traumatic life circumstances into blessings and beauty. Please welcome Sarah Glitzer. Hello and good evening. To create the life that you love, to manifest anything which is possible, you first have to go on a hunt and start to discover and uncover the belief systems and the stories that you hold in your heart. Because these stories that we hold in our hearts prevent us from manifesting everything that our heart desires. So let's say that when I was born 40 years ago, I came out wearing these lovely, tiny, hot pink and blue sunglasses. Aren't these lovely? And I'm going to take them off for just one moment because I can't see what I'm doing. But when I was born with these 40 years ago, let's just say that they never came off. I've never had these off in 40 years of life. I sleep with these sunglasses on. I go to work with these on. I go hang out with my girlfriends in these sunglasses. I go on date nights with my husband in these sunglasses. These things are like a permanent fixture. They're like my arms and my legs. I've never had them off in 40 years of life. So when I look at this lovely woman here in front of me in the second row wearing a white sweater, when I have my blue sunglasses on, I'm going to look at you and say, I love your blue sweater. It's so pretty. And you're going to say, hey, Sarah, just want to let you know you're up on stage in front of a bunch of people, and I don't want you to be embarrassed. My sweater, my shirt, it's not blue. It's actually white. And my response is going to say, thank you so much. I really appreciate the support, but I really think you need to go get your eyes checked because clearly your shirt, your sweater is blue. I mean, clearly I can see that your shirt is blue, right? But you really want to help me out. So in a very positive and uplifting voice, you say, Sarah, look, I'm telling you my sweater is not blue. It is white. I promise it's white. Does your passion, does your uplifting, motivating voice help me see your shirt is white? No, I still see blue. But you're very persistent. So you're going to give it one more shot. And you say, Sarah, look, I'm telling you, you are truly embarrassing yourself up on that stage. You say you don't need to get your eyes checked. You think I need to go get my eyes checked, but I'm telling you my shirt is not blue. It is white. Can't you see that it's white? Does that persistence, does that passion help me see your shirt is anything other than blue? No, it's completely hopeless. However, if I bump into this thing on my face called sunglasses and I rip them off, I can look at you and clearly see in 1 second that your shirt is white. It's not blue. And that took me 1 second, right? I call that a revelation. I call that breaking through a belief system that I hold in my heart. But in order to see that, I have to remove these sunglasses. Now, we all know in our head how to lose weight, right? It's not rocket science, ladies and gentlemen. It's calories in versus calories out. Eat less, work out more, and you're going to see weight loss, correct? But for some reason, so many of us that have that goal of releasing weight, of becoming healthier, we never achieve that goal. And why? Because we have belief systems, we have sets of sunglasses, we have stories that we hold in our hearts that prevent us from a subconscious place of ever being able to reach that goal, that dream that we have. And I want to suggest to you that every single one of us, you and you in the white shirt, and you, Mary, and all of you lovely people in the audience tonight, and I, and everyone else in the world, regardless of age, race, gender, financial status, background, every single one of us are born with thousands of these sets of sunglasses. And these things run us from a subconscious place, from our hearts, 99% of the time. And yet we're blind to them. We don't even know that these things exist. But these make decisions for us 99% of the time from a subconscious place. So until we start to uncover and discover these sunglasses, until we recognize that they're there and we rip them away, we can't manifest everything that our heart desires. The important thing to keep in mind about these sunglasses is that it's not your fault. This doesn't make you good or bad, right or wrong. Again, every single person, every human being on the planet has thousands of these sets of sunglasses, and that's what research tells us. But what you need to understand is that we are born developing these things, just like me 40 years ago. We start developing these stories, these programs, these sets of sunglasses that we hold in our hearts and our subconscious from the time that we're babies. And by the time we are 4 years old, yes, 4 years old, we have developed 80% of our programs, our belief systems, the lenses through which we view the world and those around us and ourselves. 80%. So if you want to up-level your business or your career, if you want to grow your team, if you want to create a more joyful relationship in your life, if you want a more healthy lifestyle, if you want more financial abundance, you first have to start by uncovering and discovering your sunglasses. And what I would like to do now is be vulnerable with you and share my personal journey of overcoming and thriving. Because what I can tell you is that my uncovering and discovering these sunglasses has helped me overcome and thrive in a way that I never thought possible. Would you be okay with me sharing my personal journey? Thank you. So my journey really started when I was 14 years old, about 26 years ago. And I signed a professional modeling contract, and in the moment it seemed like a dream come true. I was a 14-year-old girl. But what felt like a dream quickly became a nightmare. My first day on the job, I was told by the agency owners that in order to succeed, in order to meet the demands of the industry, I needed to lose more weight. And at the time, I was a size 0 and I weighed maybe 105 or 10 pounds soaking wet. So that night in the model apartment, one of the 20-year-old women pulled me to the side and she said, "Look, you're going to be forced to make a decision. You either have to choose to be anorexic or bulimic." So in that moment, I made the choice to become bulimic, and I started a path of self-destructive thoughts, behaviors, and actions that would shape much of my life for years to come. Here came the sunglasses based on those life experiences that I was having. I'm not capable. I'm not worthy. I'm not enough. My only value is based on the way that I look on the outside. Fast forward 4 years, and I got help for my bulimia, but the emotional and mental scars were still there. I went to college, and my first semester, 1 month into school, I went to a party. I had a soda. I woke up the next day in an off-campus house, completely unclothed, in a home that I was not familiar with people that I did not know. I quickly realized that I had been drugged and raped, and here came more sunglasses. I'm tarnished. No good man's ever going to love me or want me. I should feel guilty and have shame and blame myself. There's something wrong with me. I'm not enough. Fast forward a few more years, and I reconnected with my high school sweetheart. We fell back in love. We had a whirlwind romance. We got engaged, and we started planning our wedding. And I thought, oh man, life looks really rosy now. Several months into planning our wedding, he asked me to go to dinner. He sat me down and he looked at me and he said, "Sarah, I don't love you. I have never loved you. I'm not going to marry you. I want my ring back. And I've called a cab. This was before the days of Uber. I'm aging myself here. And he walked out, and he left me seated by myself at the table with no explanation as to what had happened and why we were no longer going to be getting married. More sunglasses, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not lovable. I'm not capable. I'm not enough. My dream guy left me. Nobody's going to want to marry me. How am I ever going to have the life of my dreams? Fast forward a few more years, and I did meet the man of my dreams, my now husband of almost 15 years. And we have a beautiful life together. We traveled the world together with his job for 7 years, built our relationship, went through a lot of ups and downs, but mostly ups. And 7.5 years ago, we had our beautiful baby boy, Gavin. And when Gavin was a year old, I woke up one day, and all of a sudden, I was very dizzy and disoriented. I was having a hard time seeing. I couldn't focus. I was forgetful. And when I read my emails, they would bounce across the screen. I instantly knew in my gut that something was wrong. So I went to a doctor who first told me that I had MS. And that diagnosis just didn't seem to fit. So we went to Cleveland Clinic and we met with one of the top neurosurgeons in the country who told me that I did not have MS, but in fact he thought that I had a brain tumor. And 2 hours later, we were back in his office after a whole battery of tests and scans, and he was exactly right. I had a tumor in my brain, and the diagnosis at that time was to sit and wait. We didn't want to do anything that we didn't need to do at the time. Over the next 6 years, the tumor grew in my brain. I lost myself mentally, physically, and emotionally. I gained over 100 pounds. I became so debilitated that I was unable to fulfill my duties and responsibilities as the COO of a company here locally. I had to quit my job. And I was no longer able to be the wife and mom to my boys that I really wanted to be. Just getting out of bed every single day and putting 2 feet on the ground took every single bit of mental, emotional, and physical strength and energy that I could possibly muster. 2 years ago, we removed the tumor, and my life started getting back on track. And at that time, I realized that I really wanted to dig deeper with my personal development work. So I started taking a look at all these sets of sunglasses. Because while the tumor was growing in my brain and while I thought I was headed toward death, I told myself a lot of stories. My son's going to get raised by some other woman. My husband's going to marry a younger model. I'm going to die. I'm not going to get to live to be 40. I told myself a lot of stories that did not serve me and did not serve those around me. And I truly believe that those manifested physically in my body and made me more sick than I already was. But again, after having that recovery and that surgery and healing from that process, my life really started to look better again. And I was like, man, I got this life thing all wired. I got it all figured out now. Life is great. A year ago, I started feeling ill again. And at that time, I went to the doctor and they told me that I thought I had lymphoma this time. So they did a whole round of tests again. And this time, my attitude, my outlook, my sets of sunglasses were very different. I knew that going to a dark place and having the mindset that I was going to die and my husband was going to have a new wife and my son was going to be raised by another woman, I knew that that did not serve me. I knew that that was going to manifest negative things in my life and not positive things in my life. So my mindset was very different this time. I stood very firm in the fact that this was not going to be a cancer diagnosis, and if it was, we were going to kick the hell out of it. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? When those biopsies came back, when those reports came in, guess what? It was not cancer. Yes, it was a disease, and yes, it was difficult to overcome, but it was manageable and it was treatable. And after 6 months of treatment, I was healthy again. So what I want to leave you with tonight is that I truly believe that I am a perfect example of how you uncover and discover your sunglasses, rip them away, and tell yourselves new stories that are going to better serve you and allow you to manifest everything that your heart desires. I truly believe with every inch of my heart and soul that I would not be alive with air in my lungs standing before you today if I had not done this personal development work on myself. If I had continued to wear these sets of sunglasses that did not serve me, I believe that I would be 6 feet under. So if I could leave you with one message, I encourage you to learn how to play big and live empowered. Start to discover and uncover the sunglasses that you wear in your subconscious, in your heart.
Ask yourself, why am I feeling the way that I feel in this situation? Why am I behaving the way that I'm behaving in this situation? And does it serve me? And if the answer is no, you can simply rip those sunglasses off and say, guess what? I want to tell myself a new story. I want to create a new set of facts to that life experience or story that happened in my life. I want to manifest everything that I want. So when you uncover your sunglasses, you can do more, be more, and achieve more. Uncover your sunglasses, throw them away, and I truly believe that you can manifest everything, because anything and everything is possible. Thank you.
Thank you. I have to find words. I am very thankful for the metaphor that you've created. I think it really helps me, and I think it helps people in general a lot to be able to equate what it is that, we have these visions blocking us that we can't see clearly to, a set of sunglasses, that's relatable, that's understandable, now I can delve into that. So was that a revelation for you that, oh my God, I'm wearing sunglasses, I'm not seeing things clearly, or was that something that you read somewhere? How did that develop?
Well, this was really based on my training. So I went through facilitation training for 3 years, and we had talked about this as a concept. But when I decided to leave corporate America because I was not fulfilled, and when you go through the challenges with your health like I've been through, you get to make a choice. I'm either going to live every day the fullest and live the life that I want and start manifesting what I want in my life or not. And for me, the choice was very clear. I was no longer going to build somebody else's dream. I wanted to build my dream. And so when I chose to leave corporate and build my company full-time and do this as a full-time career, I knew that I wanted to incorporate the metaphor of sunglasses, because it's such an easy way to take a look at the stories that we tell ourselves, and do they serve us? And if not, it really is as simple as ripping them away and deciding to believe something else, deciding to tell ourselves something other than that negative stuff that's not serving us.
I think it works so well, very
Thank
beautifully,
you.
literally and metaphorically.
Thank you so
Wonderful.
much.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, ladies
Sarah
and gentlemen.
Glitzer, everyone. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. That's the song that this next speaker made me think of. It will become very evident as she begins to speak why that was, so clearly the song for her. One part that's not as evident is she later shared with us that this entire speech came to her in a dream. That's pretty cool. Please welcome Isabel Hundt.
Tonight, my son is here with me, and he says, I only come because of the party popper, so people can pop a party. So, say that fast. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I hate to break it to you, but the law of attraction does not exist. You have been lied to. Or have you? Over the next 10 minutes, I would like to invite you to imagine watching a documentary with me as your narrator, of course, about a young girl and her prophetic dream. And to set the scene, I want you to envision this beautiful, warm spring day in the year of 1995-ish in East Germany. Only a few playful clouds are covering the otherwise beautiful, perfectly blue sky. And you can smell the flowers, the spring flowers, the scent is in your nose. And there you see her, a merely 12-year-old girl who is enjoying her kayak flow down the river, also known as the River of Life. Her life perfectly worked out as it was supposed to, or maybe as it was expected of her. And while she was kayaking around, she eventually dozed off in the land of dreams, And after about an hour or so, she woke up slightly irritated and disoriented, not quite knowing where she was at, because this dream that she just had was so vivid that she knew it was not just a random dream. It felt more like a prophetic dream. And in this dream, she saw herself speaking on stage as an adult in front of thousands of people in English, which is not her native language. And so you would think that this girl would feel really nervous and uncomfortable and just toss this dream aside. But she felt this really deep sense of peace and freedom and fulfillment and bliss. And so she knew that this is exactly where her life is going to go. This is the direction her life is going to take. And so her journey of manifesting that dream began. Of course, she had to prepare herself, so she started frantically studying everything that she could find about the law of attraction, affirmations, how to envision your dream, goal setting, how to achieve your dreams, everything she could find. And once she felt prepared, she was ready. She knew exactly how, when, what. She had everything planned out. And so she started paddling in her little kayak. Her journey started out pretty smooth and quiet. And a few years went by and she totally enjoyed her adventure. It was so much fun. Until suddenly, in the middle of her path, this huge rock shows up. This big rock that was in her way that said, "You are not good enough." And for the first time, she was wondering if she made the right choice. That rock came closer and closer and closer. She no longer focused on her dream, but she focused on this rock because she was so close to collide with it. She pedaled harder and harder and faster. She knew she can do it, and she did pass it with just an inch to spare. Once she passed it, she looked back. And she thought to herself that she had to make sure that the river of life itself knew exactly how this is going to go down, because it's her dream and nobody else's. So she gets to decide. And so she continued her journey, paddling and paddling. She realized the water was flowing faster, but she just adapted. She was great. When suddenly she found herself right in the middle of those crazy currents. The currents, a maze of opinions and outside circumstances and expectations. Now she really started to doubt everything she had done so far. Did she really have the skill to continue that journey? Was she capable? Everything was just going through her mind. Her kayak was twirling and spinning until she felt really sick to her stomach. Who knew that manifesting your dream can be that hard? She had one or two advantages. She was stubborn and persistent. And so she continued to paddle and harder and harder until she finally broke free from those crazy currents. And now she was even more determined. She continued her journey down the river of life. And suddenly, the river split in half. Now she had to make a decision quick, real quick, but her indecisiveness did not quite help. Was she supposed to go left, right, back and forth? Her mind was going crazy. The right side said, "Follow me, let me guide you into the unknown." And the left side said, "Hustle, make it work, you can do it, manifest your dreams fast." And she had something to prove to herself and to everyone else. So of course, she chose to go left when her intuition told her to go right. And so she went down a little further into her journey after she chose to go left. Now the water just turned into a raging sea. Ice cold water was splashing left and right of her, trying to take her breath away. The waves, also known as fear, took over her kayak. She no longer had control. All she could do was hope and pray that nothing worse is going to happen. And so she continued hoping. Because at this point in her life, she questioned everything she had ever learned. There was no law of attraction. They lied to her. None of this exists because none of this was ever mentioned. And so she continued. She continued without knowing what was ahead of her. But she heard the rushing of the water, and she was afraid. And almost immediately, the kayak with her in it went down this really steep waterfall. It may have looked beautiful, but it certainly did not feel like it. And she kept falling, and anxiety made its way into her consciousness. When suddenly she hit the water, the surface of the water, and it was painful. She was trying to hold on to whatever she could find. But there was nothing left. She was about to drown. Darkness closed in on her. Her body was filled with panic, terror, shame, guilt. But she could not free herself from any of it. And so darkness closed in on her. There was nothing to control anymore. There was no dream left. And so she gave up. She gave up. And maybe someone would have said she surrendered to the river of life. Because while she was there trapped, trying to figure out what is happening to her, something or someone pulled her back to the surface, put her back into her kayak and gave her this gentle push moving forward. She took a deep breath. She was glad that she was still alive. But now, she found herself in the sea of sadness and grief. She didn't want to be there. No. She wanted to get out. She wanted to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but it was not there. And while she was struggling to see which way she was supposed to go, the water gently reminded her that now was the time for her to really take a look inside and let go of some of those stories and beliefs that she had carried along with her for so long. The stories that got her to where she was at. And now was the time for her to heal all those wounds that she had inflicted on herself, but also all those wounds that had been passed down generation to generation. Who wants to do that? She didn't. She resisted. No, she was done. But if she wanted to even move an inch, she had to do the work. Eventually, she did, because there was nothing else for her to do. And so a few more years went by when finally, the path of the river that she was on merged back into the main path of the river that she was supposed to be on in the first place. That path that was in alignment with her soul. Now let me tell you, the river of life knows exactly how to navigate your kayak around the huge rocks, the little rocks, and through the crazy currents. But it does require listening to the whisper of the water. Because that's all it is, a whisper. Jay Shetty once said, "You can't be anything that you want, but you can be everything that you are." And the same goes for manifesting your dream. You can't manifest anything that you want, especially being attached to the how, when, and what. But you can manifest everything that is meant for you, that is in alignment with your soul's journey, with your life's purpose. But it does require quite a dose of trust and faith, and a whole lot of listening to your heart and soul. Thank you.
So, my interpretation, tell me if I'm even close,
Okay.
is that you're sharing a dose of wisdom about the power of surrender, right? The death of the ego. It must happen this way. I have to work this way. There are only certain ways that this can happen. And then that makes life more difficult for us,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, how have you noticed the power of surrender in your own life?
Well, the journey of coming to the U.S. was quite a crazy one.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of moments where I was forced to surrender. If it was in Canada, or or just in general, even like the whole process that you have to go through. So there were so many times where I just had to surrender. There was nothing else for me to do. And once I did, things just
Flowed down?
Yep.
All right.
fell into place.
Thank you for sharing that wisdom with us. Thank you. So our final speaker, I couldn't pick one song. There were two. One, I got the power immediately. He reminds me of Hercules. Now, granted, my main exposure to Hercules is the Disney version because I was born in the 90s, so there might be slight inaccuracies in the timeline of reality of the legend of Hercules. But this next speaker dealt with homelessness and finding his power through that, and that to me, from my 90s Disney movie version, is absolutely what Hercules went through. He was cast away from his heavenly home, and through a series of challenges found his worth and his power and strength went the distance. I will find my way, I will go the distance, I don't care how far. Somehow I'll be strong, I know every mile will be worth my while. I will go most anywhere to feel like I belong. That's exact, man, when he speaks, that's how I feel. And I have absolutely no doubt that right here at the end of this show tonight in this theater is where Kristian Aleixo belongs. Please welcome him.
You guys don't know this, but I've been thinking about installing one of these confetti guns in my apartment. And I think this just sold it for me. I can't think of a better way to start the day. Leave the house and... I'm Kristian Aleixo. I'm a professional race car driver, the author of the autobiography, My Life and Story, The Outside Groove, forwarded by the legendary Willie T. Ribbs, and the children's book Faster and Faster. I'm also the star of my own reality TV show, produced by Sharp Entertainment, the makers of Jersey Shore and 90 Day Fiancé, documenting my journey from being a homeless teenager, 14 years old, living out of a 5x7 storage unit in Tacoma, Washington, to competing in the world's most expensive sport, and eventually a spot on the starting grid at the Indianapolis 500. Hometown crowd, I like that. I didn't bring any of that up to talk about myself. I brought that up because tonight we are here to talk about manifesting. And I have manifested all of that. And that's how I know that what I'm going to share with you tonight isn't made up. It's not fiction. This is fact. This is pure fact. And I know that because I didn't get it out of a magazine. I didn't get it out of a book. I didn't watch it in a movie. I got it because I lived it, and I still live it every day. So what is manifesting? Manifesting, to me, is elevated thinking above one's circumstances. It's a portal. Choose to step through it, and your wildest dreams are on the other side. I like to think of fishing. It's kind of like how you cast the line as far out as possible. You do that because if you were to drop your line directly over the bow into the water that you're sitting in, the line would get twisted, it would tangle the spool, and you wouldn't be able to reel in that 3-pound bass that you're going to lie about later and tell everybody it was the size of a whale, you should have seen it. Manifesting is just like that. Not focusing on your circumstances, but thinking above and beyond it. I'm going to share with you 3 phrases that I know work for me. Hopefully they work for you. Go ahead and put them in your pocket. Pull them out whenever you need to. Use them frequently, often. How many of you are human beings? Anybody tonight? 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait. All of you? That's crazy. More than I thought. Good crowd. How many of you take for granted the fact that you're a human being? You guys ever think about it? Oh wait, I'm a human. Why is that important? There are 6.5 million species of living animal on land. Another 2.2 million under the ocean, and only 1 human being. That's you. Whoa, what a compliment from the universe. It could have made you anything, but it didn't. It spit you out as a human being. Take a second right now, turn to the person next to you, and say, hello, human being. Go ahead and confirm someone's humanness tonight. Confirm someone's humanness. Because as a human, you are powerful. Everything else is limited because it doesn't have the ability to think. And as you think, you can create. And that's how I know whatever it is that you want out of this life can be manifested. I promise you. Be careful, though, what you want, because you use these 3 phrases I'm going to share with you, and you're going to get it. Your time on this earth is limited. But whatever it is that you want to do at that time is not. How many of you remember the 80s cartoon, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe? Oh, okay. Now, what was He-Man's favorite saying? I have the power. He would say this. He would point his sword to the sky, the lightning would strike it, and he would transform from Prince Adam into He-Man. This was something that was already in him. Now, I don't know how conscious the creators of the series were when they named it that, but let's just take note of the correlation between I have the power and masters of the universe. Coincidence? I don't think so. When you say, I have the power, just in the same way that Prince Adam was able to do things that he wasn't able to do 2 seconds ago, it's the same for you. When you say, I have the power, you are calling on a higher version of yourself. It's already in you. You just need the permission. You have to give yourself the permission to unlock it. And once that's unlocked, so many things are going to open up for you. Go ahead and say, I have the power. I don't know if the race cars are killing my hearing, but I wasn't feeling that. Can I hear, I have the power? Yes. Now, when you just said that right there, something started moving. You set something into motion right now. You can't see it, but it's moving all around you. Things are getting closer to you. Something that you need just moved a little bit closer to you. You're a magnet. And I wouldn't be surprised if you had a breakthrough sometime this week. I have the power. I have the power. The second phrase I like to use is I will build it. Everybody say, I will build it. I will build it. The Great Wall of China, the Burj Al Arab, the world's only 7-star hotel, the pyramids of Egypt, hell, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, all started from somebody saying, I will build it. None of these things were standing before. When you say, I will build it, it's not a, oh, maybe I will. It's not a, I think I might. No, it's declarative. It's final. It's powerful. What you're doing when you say, I will build it, is you're closing the door behind you. You're telling the universe, shut the door. Why? Because I'm going this way, not that way. I don't need an exit strategy because I'm only going up from here. I will build it. The minute you say that, the tools come to life. It's almost like Beauty and the Beast, how the clock would talk and jump up and down, the candlestick moved. It's kind of like that. You say, I will build it, the tools get up and they start to move towards you. The resources, the ideas to find the resources, everything is moving in your direction the minute you say, I will build it. The minute you decide, I will build it. It's final. There is nothing that I can say to talk myself out of this. There is nothing that anybody can tell me. There are no excuses when I say, I will build it. The third phrase that I like to use is nothing is hard. Everything is a challenge. Go ahead and say that. Nothing is hard. Everything is a challenge. Your brain magnifies everything that you say more than it magnifies anything else that anybody else can say. This is proven fact. The minute I say it, it sounded this small. This is hard. That's 3 small words. But it comes back to me, boomerang effect, in my ear, way bigger. And the minute I say it's hard, guess what it becomes? Hard. And who did it to himself? Me, because I said it was hard. The human being is made for protection. You have all these systems in place within you to keep you from killing yourself, right? So if somebody told me to go run 10 miles right now, and I think that's hard, you know what my brain is gonna do? It's gonna start to shut my body down on mile number 7, because that's a safe number for my brain, right? Okay, if 10 is hard, then if we stay at 7, we won't kill ourselves, right? But that's the wrong answer, because you can do the 10, and it starts by eliminating the word hard. You eliminate that, and so many negative emotions go with it. I grew up in a household with a single mom. She passed away from type 1 diabetes when I was 13 years old. I now have type 1 diabetes myself. And I'm going through all these different challenges. It's been a struggle. It's always been a struggle. I don't know anything but struggle. But you know what? Struggle kind of turns me on. I kind of like it. I like proving to myself that anything is possible. And why? Because it actually is. And you can't argue with me about that, because I'm living it right now. I do this every single day. Anything and everything, anything and everything, anything and everything is possible. For me, for you, because you are a human. And if you ask me, how do I know that this is truth? I did it. Thank you.
Come here, Hercules. You see what I mean? I got the power. So struggle is essential to your power, right? Yeah. Can you inspire us a little bit about anybody who's going through something difficult? How do you, I mean, you've just got it in you, no matter what. But if somebody is really struggling with that difficulty of, oh my God, but it's insurmountable. No, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. What do you say?
You need to call on your inner He-Man, okay? It was only impossible for Prince Adam, right? And once he transformed, everything was open. No, but if you are going through something right now, understand that circumstances change all the time. Where you are now is not final. The minute you start thinking above and beyond it, you will start to move above and beyond it. Nothing is final about your circumstances.
Yes.
What is final, though, is your attitude. That's what's final. Change that, everything else changes with it.
Thank you. Thank you. Kristian, Aleixo. Wait, stay out here. Don't go away. Let's bring all the speakers on stage. Get them all out here. Everyone, come. If you build it, they will come. Come.
Take it away.
Yes. Hey, yes. Give a round of applause to all these incredible speakers. What a good concert, right? Incredible.
Let's hear it for all these great speakers and storytellers. Woo! Thank you. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, I was trying to think of how do you sum up what everybody said tonight. And, you know, all you can say is it is true what this is. Manifest. Anything is possible. The universe throws out so much good energy and good juju. Pick it up and run with it. Sure, there might be a bump or two every once in a while, but don't stop trying. These guys never gave up. So, yeah, thank you. Woo! And So in about 2 or 3 weeks, the video of the little kids from Shamrock Elementary, special thanks to those guys for doing that. And all the speakers' videos will be on our YouTube channel, and we'll put them on Facebook too, so you can watch them, share them, and relive this moment because their stories are very deep. Let's see, what else? Special thanks to the Walk the Talk band. You guys rock it. Whoop, whoop. Thank you. Everyone that's involved in the production, from the sound guys to the lighting guys to Jake back there. Uh-oh, Jake. The confetti gun just fell over. Whoops. And, but anyway, and Amplify Indy. Let's hear it for Amplify Indy. Woo, woo, woo. Thank you for your support, guys. You're awesome. And of course, if you haven't been to one of these events, you guys are now part of the Walk the Talk tribe. You'll always be hashtag Walk the Talk tribe. You'll see that if you follow us on Facebook. And let's see what else. Our next event is Enlightenment, April 17th. And if you want to audition, if you have a story of your enlightenment or enlightenment period, you can audition on March 26th and just email for me an audition space. It's walkthetalkseries@gmail.com. And let's see what else. Am I missing anything, Hannah? You want to talk?
No, thanks.
What? Oh, yeah. She's going to sing a song. Yeah, with the band. So, do you want to go over before we start the balloon drop and get your? Yeah, right now, because we're going to play this song now, right? Oh, we're going to do the balloon drop. Okay. Okay, so you guys, if you don't know the balloon drop, there's 150 balloons up there. It's a motivational balloon drop. There's a little bitty saying in each one, just like a fortune cookie. You can take it home with you or pop it here. If they drop in the middle, everybody just kind of push them out and throw them out to everybody. But don't be afraid to get out of your chair and go get a balloon, okay? So you guys ready? Confetti ready? Okay. 3, 2, 1. Woo! Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
bicycle and rolling down the highway. Riding in the back of a pickup truck, trying to shake this feeling, being down on my luck, 'cause I know what I think eventually comes into being. The mountains take me higher, I can see many ways, but it just drags on day after day. Though the beauty surrounds me, it's hard to stay here in this moment. Can someone please tell me how to catch that breeze, the one that's rising up all around me? 'Cause I'm doing all I can. I tried to walk, but I can barely stand. I say I'm strong, but I can't deny my weakness. Please remind me that I'm one with the power that made the sun, and I will go on and on. One more day pushing up that hill, the mountain blocks the sun, and that's just how I feel. I can't see the top and there's nothing but haze all around me. But I must push on, 'cause I know it's true that on the other side the skies are blue, and this fear only tells me I need to stay close to my spirit. I'm on my knees when I finally feel that breeze pick me up and take me over that mountain. There is music everywhere, answers flying in the air, and I know we're all going to make it. Because we're one with the power that made the sun, and we will go on and on. It's the power of the breeze, waiting gently just for me to spread my wings and remember. I must always sing the song. There is right, there is no wrong, and we will go on and on. We will go on like the power of the sun, 'cause we know that we are one. Please remind me that I'm one with the power that made the sun, and I will go on and on. Thank you for listening.